This is called Into Space. Welcome, everybody, to Ian and Jerrod's Humday Extravaganza. I'm one of your hosts, Ian, and that is...
Jerrod! And we are continuing our search for a theme song.
A theme song. Yep, I will have one. I'm going to do it. Now that I am in summer mode at Johnson & Wales University, I get home at regular times, and my weekends are usually free, so I should be able to devote a couple hours to developing a theme song for this that I will share with you, Jerrod. We both are happy with it. It'll be our new theme song.
Right on. Is that one that we brought the show on with tonight?
No.
Not the high energy intro that we're looking for. Maybe if we were like trying to take a nap in a bathtub, that'd be a great song.
Let's try this one. It's just called Rock. I don't know.
It's okay.
This is night driving. No.
Nobody wants to watch a show after that. So maybe like an asthma, if we were like doing like so Ian.
Yeah. If we were trying to recreate a national public radio show,
right?
If that was our vibe, then that's the one you would go with. So, we got someone's watching. Someone's watching. Welcome. I
think it's me.
I see two.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I see two. So anyways, welcome. Leave us a comment. Let us know you're here. Say hi.
Please.
Yeah, so this is this is our other week show, bi-weekly show, bi-monthly show. I don't know. It's our show.
Please, yeah. I was not told there would be grammar on this.
Yeah, sorry, Jerrod.
Woefully unprepared.
Woefully. Let's see. I'm also doing tech. I'm changing my tech up as we go along here. I need my headphones in.
So Ian and I, we decided this week's show was going to be on trends, current trends. And when you out there think of current trends, current trendsetters, the first thing that comes to your mind is, of course, middle-aged white guys. So besides the one trend that we are both engaged in, we went out, we found a couple things that are going on today that we're gonna talk about in tonight's show. There was a time in my life where I followed trends, where I was somebody who tried to be trendy. I think if anything, I tried too hard. I wanted so bad to be cool and trendy for so long. And for a while, I think I was probably there, except that I was obviously trying too hard to do it. And now I've completely lost track of trends. I'm on Twitter a lot, but all Twitter trends are political, and those just aren't fun. And even, they're not even fun political trends. They're all just awful name calling and just making you feel terrible about the world in general. So we're going to avoid those trends on tonight's show.
Yeah. Well, but I think that brings up a good point, Jerrod, because while sure, you may not be hip to the ultra popular trends, there are sub trends that happen that you're a part of, right? I would say you're pretty up on what you enjoy in pop culture. Like we were just talking about, we'll talk a little bit about it. We've both seen the new Doctor Strange.
Right, true. MCU movies, I would definitely
comedy. You're usually one that says, have you seen this new comedy thing? And I'll be like, yep, so I think you can be trendy in a micro way rather than just the macro, which is what I think more people pay attention to, like what the population is talking about, the entire population. Yeah.
You know what? One trend I've really completely fallen off the cliff on is music. And I hate it. I always said I'd never be the one that would reach a point in my life where I wasn't listening to modern music, but I think now is a unique time, and it's a time that has changed in history. I listen to podcasts in my car.
Yeah.
And, I just don't listen to music in my car anymore. I don't listen to Spotify. By the time Spotify came out, I'd already spent so much on my iTunes library that I was like, I don't want to give that up. So
Right.
I stick with that. It's so bad that a few years ago, The Weeknd played halftime show at the Super Bowl.
Right.
Didn't know The Weeknd was. Heard the music, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty good." Added
pretty
some of the
good,
songs
right?
to my iTunes library, but you're not doing well on trends when the Super Bowl halftime show is introducing you to new music.
Yeah, all right. I can't argue that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also want to say I'm not one who shits on like new artists that are out putting out music, things like that. Just because I haven't been listening to it, I don't know. Like, I couldn't. You could throw a Billie Eilish song at my face, I wouldn't know it's a Billie Eilish song. But I have nothing negative to say about Billie Eilish or anybody who's putting out music now that I'm just not aware of, not hip to.
Excuse me.
Any cool young musicians out there, don't sick your fans on me. I'm supportive of you.
Right. No hate tweeting at Jerrod.
That's right.
Only love tweeting.
We need to stop the hate tweeting at Jerrod from this show.
That's it.
That's a trend that needs to stop.
Yeah.
Hate tweeting at Jerrod from this show.
That's a good call. Yeah. So, and I work at a college, so I am exposed to trends that I have no business being exposed to. Like, they are not meant for a 50-year-old dude. So it's kind of funny. Sometimes I wish I wasn't, in the trend or understanding what the trend is. Cause they're just, they're made for teenagers and people in their early 20s. Right.
Yeah. Yes. But there is one trend that you and I have both jumped on. It's taken the world by storm. And you and I are both big subscribers to this trend.
It's true. That enough so, and I'm trying not to give it away, but I had people complaining I was posting too much about it on my Facebook feed. So what I did was I made a Facebook comment chain, and now that's where I post it. And if you haven't guessed by now, it's Wordle.
Wordle, taking the world by storm.
Yep. So I was funny. Jerrod, I was posting every day because I was enjoying. There were so many people that were also playing it would comment, and you were one, right? And I really enjoyed it. And then I kept getting people that just were Wordle haters, like, "Why are you posting this? It's messing up my feed." And I'm like, "Oh, there's an unfollow button and there's a mute button, so do that." So I really wasn't like, I didn't really care. But then I realized I pay attention to what happened a year ago today. And I realized if I don't stop, my entire what happened a year ago today will be the Wordle from a year ago. And Wordle doesn't tell you what the word is. So there's really no memory to it. It's like, oh, I got it in 3 tries. And that sort of thing. So I decided I didn't want to give up posting. And you and I had a thing going on. Yeah. So now daily, it's in a thread from the last time I posted on Facebook, posted it to Facebook. We just copy our results into the thread, and then usually we mock one another or try to burn one another, and it's become how I wake up in the morning.
Yeah, it's one of the first things I do when I get up in the morning. I'm not even out of bed yet.
No.
Yeah, I'm playing, and I think it does help wake my brain up too. I think the slick move for you would have been to continue to post it every day, and then once you reached, like, you've been doing it for a year, and it was starting to show up in your memories, like, share that and then post that days on it just to really drive people nuts.
I think if I were to give up on Facebook, like, say, instead of just deleting my account, I would just turn it into Wordle. Like, that's all it would be for. That's it.
Just keep posting your Wordle every single day until everybody unfriends you.
That's exactly. That's what I want. Or people are like, this is the only content on Facebook I'm comfortable with. I don't want any political. I don't want any humor. I just want Wordle results.
So while we're talking about Wordle, I'm going to take this opportunity to brag a little bit about my own Wordle.
Yeah, so your streak's better than mine.
My win percentage is 100%. My current streak is the same as my games played. I'm at 123. I don't know how well it might show up on the camera right there. It will not. You're just going to have to trust me, people. This is absolutely amazing.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
There it is.
there it is.
It's
Look
because
at
of
that.
your background filter.
I'm not lying.
He's not.
Now, I do Wordle on hard mode, and I don't say that to brag. Okay, I say that to brag a little. But I will also say that if you do Wordle, I think if you do Wordle on hard mode, it'll take longer, but you're more likely to get the word in fewer guesses.
Yeah, because it forces you to use the word. The only time I think you're at a disadvantage if you're having a hard time finding any word that fits the structure. I've had it where I'm like, I don't know, and then, but it forces you. But those are usually Jerrod, when I'm like mid-afternoon, I'm posting my Wordle. It's because I ran out of time before work, and then it's usually lunchtime that I pick it back up again.
So I usually look for the words as I call it heuristic and algorithmic ways to try to figure out the word. So the heuristic way is, for me, kind of letter combinations right there. Like, a lot of words, you've got D and R, they're in the wrong spot, but there's not many words where the R comes after the D. So
do you need two vowels, or is this one that they can get away with one vowel because they're doing consonant blends and
to me,
all of that?
That's the heuristic way of doing it.
And
then the algorithmic way is, once I see some letters that are on there, I will start kind of in my mind going, okay, what are all the options if the first letter was B? None of them work. What if it was C?
Yeah.
None of them work, and kind of work my way through that.
I do the same thing. That's my both those things are my process. Yep.
Yeah. And I'm usually pretty good when it comes to letter combinations. Figure out what's common, what's not very common at all. Just to, a way to eliminate right there.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know this because I don't post it. I also play daily Hurdle, which is songs.
Every once in a while, I'll do that.
And I play Framed, which is movie.
Oh, you would be much better at that than me.
I love. I'm pretty good at the movies. Although with a movie, you either know it or you don't. Like there was a movie. I was like, well, I never saw that movie, so there was no way I was going to get that.
Yeah. Another one, like when Wordle first came out, they had the Wordles where it was like 2 Wordles at once, 4 at once, 8, 16, 30, like a shitload of Wordles at once. And that to me is like, I think I did one of them once or twice because somebody else was posting it. Yeah. That's like, I'm going to show off. But it's to the point where it's like, it takes away. To me, one of the good things about Wordle is everybody's doing the same puzzle every day, and it only takes a few minutes.
And it's one.
Yes.
That was really, really what attracted to me. It's like one and done.
Yep.
I'll see you tomorrow. And as somebody I tend to get excited about something, get the dopamine going, and then fixate on that and do it until I'm so burnt. I get burnt out of it really easy. If that were the case, I would not be paying Wordle right now. I would have been done with it 2 months ago because I would have been like, okay, I've saturated.
I'm the same way. I get into something, I really get into it, and then one day I just hit a wall with it, and it's like, I wonder what my life would be like if I didn't do this. And you know what? So far, it's always been fine.
Yeah.
And I have a bunch of games on my phone that I haven't played in years. I can't bring myself to delete them yet.
Yeah.
Just in case there's an emergency that comes up. So one thing I've enjoyed with Wordle is when there's a word and people aren't familiar with the word, and I am, because then I can just revel in my self-indulgent feelings of being smarter than everybody else, which is my favorite way to feel. Like the word tacit, I remember that because my Twitter feed was full of people like,
what's that word?
Which honestly kind of surprised me. I've used tacit my whole life.
Yeah.
I must have read it in a book, but I really feel like with what we've been seeing in the world lately, the word tacit, I thought it was being used quite a bit because there's a lot of tacit permission that's been given to people to do pretty shitty things, not just based upon what people aren't saying or what they're alluding to.
Right.
We've got a lot of trials going on for that very thing right now.
Yeah, you would think that that would be a word that everybody's got on their mind, but
Yes. Yes.
yeah, it is. It's a little bit a hit of dopamine and superiority and yeah. But it's also just fun. It's just hard enough.
Yeah.
It's like my streak, even though I don't have the 100%, I've only missed I think one word, maybe two in the time I've been playing, and that failure is enough for me to get worried when I get down to word guess 5. I'm like, I don't, like, but
I'm good.
luckily I only have like 1/6, like 1 or 2 sixes. I can tell you. I can tell you because I
If
pulled
it
it
seems
up.
like I'm being very smug about being 100%, I am.
You should, but it's
I
gonna
can,
hurt when you miss it. There's
that's why
inevitable.
I want to do this now. So when we're doing a
Yeah,
show about it now, so that
yeah,
when I invariably don't get one, it's
yeah.
like there's no show coming
And
up about it.
I predict, when it'll be, Jerrod. It's going to be one of those things that there's about 1,000 letters. The word
Yeah.
is so you're like every letter of the alphabet can turn it into a word, like those ones
Lunch,
where you just
hunch, bunch, munch.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, I just ran out of guesses. I just
That is what it's going to be.
and that's gonna hurt because you can't. It'd be one thing if you didn't know the word, but it's not going to be that, right?
Yeah. Like sometimes I'll just, is this a word? And every once in a while, it is a word.
Yeah,
And it's never like what the Wordle word is, but it would be
right.
one where if it was, people would be up in arms like, this is a bullshit word right here.
Yeah,
But, if it's a word like habit, a very regular, commonly used word,
yeah.
it just, I think, will hurt that much more.
It will, because I know one of the times it was one of those that I was like, if I had a 7th guess, I would have gotten it. I just went through all the permutations, and
Yeah.
then I start trying to get in the mind of the puzzle writer to be like, which word would be more likely that they would use in this puzzle, and I'm usually wrong.
Yeah.
I'm usually like, oh, okay. They went they went with what I would consider the more common word, or if I go, okay, let's go for the common word. Oh, they went for the less common word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I will say it was part of the annoying Twitter trend. When Wordle first moved to New York Times, there was way too many people tweeting about it, complaining.
yeah,
Way too many.
people do not like change. They don't. For people,
They
that's
do.
why I think trends are popular, because it
Yeah.
feels it normalizes, and then everybody wants to do it. It's that sort of thing, and then yeah, if anything changes, people just go berserk.
Absolutely.
They turn into monsters.
All right. Are we ready to go to the next trend that we
Yeah,
found?
let's do it.
This next trend, I am leery of. Let's just bring it up right here. It's Tropicana Punch. This is a cereal that is made, instead of pouring milk into it, you pour orange juice into it.
I've seen this. I haven't seen it in the wild, but I have seen Facebook posts. I think my camera on my
Yeah, he's always on the leading edge of new cereals and snacks.
Yeah.
I'm
don't know.
not one to poo-poo food that I haven't tried. I'm
Right,
big on always trying food first, but I will say I'm a little leery on that one, especially because I'd want to try it in like a single serving, something safe first.
I think it's going to be. So I think this is one to make it taste good in orange juice. It's going to have zero flavor out of the box. Like I just feel it's going to add like a crunch to it, that it is flavorless, because it's certainly not going to be sweet, because we know anybody that has brushed your teeth and then had orange juice, that is not a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think what happens is your mind thinks of it and they think of that sweet and that milky taste, and that doesn't go with orange juice. So it has to be something that tastes totally different from cereal.
I read an article from somebody who tried it.
Yeah.
And the cereal is oats. It's based in oats.
Okay.
And they
So
said
it's like a Cheerio.
Well,
those are oats.
Almost oatier, like
oatier.
Oatier.
That's tomorrow's Wordle.
Oatier. So it looked like oatmeal. I'm trying to think like honey bunches of oats. Does that look kind of like if you bring those out? I think it's going to be something like that. And they said best case was kind of like a creamsicle, but I don't know because I think the crunch,
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. So I don't know. I would try it, but also, this is a gimmick. This isn't anything that they're introducing to the market. You had to sign up, and they were go out really quick, so they don't have to make it good. Like they're not trying to, create something on the market. They're just trying to make it not suck one time.
Yeah, is the cost of putting out this product cheaper than the cost of advertising their own orange juice?
Hey,
because the media coverage they're getting from this, the free media coverage they're getting from this,
this show alone, we would not be talking about Tropicana today if it wasn't for this.
Tropicana, in all fairness, is a sponsor of this show.
That's true.
So we're kind of
a silent sponsor, which means
silent sponsor. That's right.
Yeah, it's a silent sponsor, meaning we're not really supposed to mention them on the show, and they are not sending us anything for it.
They pay us not to mention them.
Mention it, yeah. So we're in violation.
So I guess we're not getting.
Sorry, Joey Trops.
Tropicana.
Yeah, the CEO of Tropicana, Joey Trops. Sorry.
Big Joey T.
Big Joey T.
What was I like? I like a pulpy orange juice. I know most people don't. I like a pulpy orange juice. I like orange juice with bits of orange to gnaw on as I'm enjoying it. It's what I like. But I can't think of like enjoying the taste of orange juice with something crunchy. That's, I think, kind of what I'm struggling with. Like the flavor profile, yeah, I can kind of see that. I like made chicken marinade with orange juice and cooked. I've actually got some teriyaki chicken that I squeezed orange juice into marinating right now. The flavor profile I think can work. I think the texture, like orange juice as a flavor combined with any other texture, is going to be weird.
Maybe it just into pulp. That's all it is. It pulps your non-pulped orange juice.
That'd be good. Big box of orange pulp.
Yep. I think that's what it is.
Or some
orange we're on to something.
So that's like the no pulp orange juice. Maybe they're straining the pulp out and they're pulling it.
They're freeze drying it. They're making it into something that you could send into space, and then you rehydrate it with orange juice, making it a pulpy orange juice.
I like that we're giving the good people at Tropicana so much credit for what is obviously a big marketing ploy.
All right. So, all right. And I think that's a good thing. There are food trends, right?
Yeah.
I think that, I never got into the avocado toast, but now you can get avocado toast at Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
Right.
Very fair. Yep.
Yeah. So there are food trends, and if it requires no work and it's not pricey, I'll participate in a food trend. Yeah. But if it's either of those things, I have no interest. I don't want to work harder, and I don't want to spend money.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. Like I actually enjoy avocado, like a turkey sandwich with avocado.
It's good,
delicious. I got a recipe for like an avocado mustard sauce from I guess popular in Brazil. I can't wait. Oh, good. My obviously my niece Annika is watching.
It's been a minute since she's been on.
Old jokes, yes. I am a sucker for being called Uncle Jerrod, so she gets away with it though. And I do not look as old as Gandalf, Annika, and I'm going to tell your teachers to give you extra homework this weekend. Now,
although I'm kind of impressed, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, right up Ian's alley right there.
Yeah, kind of impressed.
To go back to what I was saying, I do enjoy some things with avocado. I never buy avocados. And I don't know why. There's just some part of me that feels like they're going to be too much work. And it's not like they're a lot of work. And I'm not that great at getting the avocado out. But I know I'm not that great at getting it out because I so rarely buy avocados and try to get all the avocados.
Yeah. I have never prepped an avocado. So.
And you know what?
I share a guacamole though.
Guacamole, I see. I don't like raw onions, and I don't like raw tomatoes. So when guacamole has those, I am out. But I'm trying to think. Like, food trends are usually started because marketing, like the
Well,
whole big bacon, like bacon on everything, bacon, 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 that started in the mid 2000s, and it just seemed like it came out of nowhere. Hold on, I'm gonna cough a little bit.
we
Thanks
both
for
we
that,
both got
everyone.
a little bit of a cough tonight.
Woo! So the whole bacon trend, like, I love bacon. And even now, people are like, bacon. Everything's better with bacon. I like bacon. There's some foods that really are a lot better with bacon, but people have really taken it to an overboard thing, and it's because in the 2000s, it's actually because in the 90s, people started buying less and less bacon because it's, let's face it, very unhealthy, very
Yeah.
fatty, very salty. So bacon sales are going down. So that bacon love that everybody's out there like, I love bacon, blah, 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 blah. You really have just fallen for a marketing ploy from Big Bacon.
Big bacon.
Big Bacon. So,
Boss hog.
yeah. So it makes me wonder, was there that same kind of push with avocado?
Probably. I mean, that's a good call. That's a good call if you think about it. So, milk does a body good.
Yeah.
That's an attempt at it.
Yeah.
Eggs have had things.
Yeah.
Beef, it's what's for dinner, right?
Pork, the other white meat. Yep.
Yeah, pork, the other white meat, right? So you're absolutely right. The other trend that I've noticed with food lately is celebrity endorsed things, like McDonald's saying this rapper likes this burger, and they
Yeah.
call it. And I had to look it up. Subway's doing it now. They're calling it the Vault, and they're special sandwiches that apparently were designed by celebrities. So that seems to be a trend right now, is food, mostly fast food, getting a celebrity and saying this is their sandwich, and people going for it.
And I will tell you, I do not like celebrity culture.
Mm-mm.
Um, there's like, hey, I'm a big Tom Brady fan. There's sports fans. Or
Yeah,
athletes. I'm fans of comedians that I just think are excellent comedian actors
right.
and actresses who I am fans of. But the whole celebrity culture thing, I just can't get into. If I happened to be somewhere, if I was on an airport and there was somebody I was a big fan of that was there, my response would be to not bother them, because I feel like
Oh,
that would be the best way to show appreciation for them, is to give them their space, leave them
give them space.
alone.
I have met, because of my job working at a college, we bring celebrities onto campus, comedians, bands,
Yeah.
all that type of stuff. So I've had a pretty fair share of meeting people, and I've just, like, my students, they want to get a picture with the comedian or whoever, the celebrity. I'm the one that will take the picture. I have no interest in being in the shot. To me, it just feels, I don't have that adulation that other people do. And it's probably because I've been let down by meeting these people so many times that I'm
That's
just like, I don't want
yeah.
to feed into the ego.
I, that's one thing I'm always kind of afraid of.
Yeah.
Like a comedian like Todd Barry, I think he's fantastic. He's comedically the exact opposite of me, and he's so hilarious in the way he does it. What if I met him and he was a dick?
Yeah.
That would ruin something that I really enjoy right now. I
Yep.
know. So when I was out in California, there's a lot of opportunity for running into celebrities out there. And I remember hearing the story from one guy who, this was, gosh, probably late 80s, early 90s. This kid, he really wanted to meet David Lee Roth, and he was out in California. So what he started going to some parties. From those parties, kind of network with people, get invitations to other parties, start to get to parties that, had celebrities at them. Finally, he got invited to a party that David Lee Roth was at. He met him. Total jerk.
Yeah.
Absolute jerk to him. And it's like, what a letdown that has got to be. But on the other hand, when you put that much effort into meeting a celebrity, how can the experience ever live up to all the expectations you've built in getting to that point to meeting them?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So I'll talk about good experiences. I won't talk about bad experiences, but good experience this year. I worked with two nationwide comics, people that know nationally. Roy Wood Jr., He was absolutely.
He seems like he would be cool.
He was absolutely. He was, for no fault of his own, weather related. He was late. He was driving from New York City to Providence and was extremely late. His assistant called me every 10 minutes with an update. So he couldn't sound check. We had a full house.
Yeah.
He's 10 minutes past the start time. He gets there and I'm fine. College students are fine. We put music on, they were having a good time. It isn't, the tickets were free, so no one was complaining. This guy walks out of his town car. He had a driving service, gets out of the car, walks backstage on walks right backstage, tells the host, this is what I want for an intro. The host goes out and without missing a beat, without even sitting down, he just walks on and he does an hour and 15 and he only needed to do an hour. He did a real solid hour 15. And it was, the reason he went so over is he was having a back and forth with the students. He was having a good time, that sort of thing. That's what I mean is like, he was in no mood to do a comedy show. It took him 6 hours to get from New York City to Providence. Right. Yeah. And that's a class act.
I like hearing stories like that because Roy Wood Jr., I follow him on Twitter. He's not the massively named celebrity. He was like the artistic director for Upright Citizens Brigade.
Oh, yeah?
Like right towards the end when he was trying to save it. I think it was right before the pandemic hit. He's the one that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And then, wah, wah. But I like hearing positive stories about especially
you want to hear the best. You want to hear my best experience with
these stories are always good.
All right. So my best, I need to do a shout out because I didn't know who he was. This is not going to help my comedy cred. But 2 weeks ago we had Sal Vulcano from Improbable Jokers. Yeah. I had no idea who he was. Nice guy, was really great with the students. That's how you get to my heart. You're good with the students that brought you to campus, worked hard to put on the show. Like that's it. So this is my best story. I was working at University of North Carolina at Wilmington. The original Kings of Comedy tour, highest grossing comedy tour at the time with Cedric the Entertainer.
Yep.
So D.L. Hughley comes to campus and it comes early and comedians never come early. Like there's no reason to. You check the microphone, the monitor levels up. Great. It's not like a band. Comes in early and he had a lot of things on his writer. A lot of times they touring artists don't update their writers. It's the same thing for every place they get. And a lot of times it's made so that we will stock their tour bus. So if you're going to city to city, gotcha, you don't have to grocery shop. The place where you loaded your bus from it. So he clearly had a writer that was outdated. He was doing a fly-in tour. He didn't need all those groceries, but we're contractually obligated to get it from. So my students go out and they go grocery shopping. I give them money to go grocery shopping. And it's like $500 worth of groceries, more groceries than my students have ever seen. Right. And it's loaded. So he gets there and he invites all of us into the dressing room and he's like, oh my God, I didn't need all this groceries. And my students said that it's amazing. That would last me a month. Like that's a month of groceries for me. And he says, really? And he goes, how much did you pay? And she said, $500. He says, I'm going to buy you a week of groceries. And he pulled out $125 and he gave the student $125, said that's on me. You all are getting your education. You're working very hard. That's the least I can do. Oh. Yeah. It was awesome.
I like hearing that because I really like D.L. Hughley a lot. And I'll say, as a stand-up, I think he's good. He's not my favorite stand-up.
Right.
But conversationally, which I think is the mark of somebody who's like the most naturally funny. And maybe that's because it's kind of where my comedic sensibilities also lie the strongest, is conversationally. Like he's always funny. Every interview, he's always so good. Every conversation he has, he will always just come out with really good stuff, like a lot of top of his head, really funny things in the moment. I think just as a funny human being,
he's a funny human being.
Yes,
I would even say he's probably more suited. He's done some hosting of shows. I would say he's a really good host because he's quick on the top of his head. He's also very educated on what he's talking about. I just really like him. He's in the other person that I like that's very similar is W. Kamau Bell, and he's obviously made a career of humorous topical, but he just did that documentary on Cosby, and it was fantastic. It was really good. So so that's my best celeb stories, and I am happy to say, out of the dozens of celebrities I've met, most of them have been really good. There's only a couple that were just pains in the asses, and then I always tell the students, because I always feel bummed for them. They were just having an off day. They're probably really, really nice people, but yeah.
I do think that for the most part, they appreciate their fans and realize that kind of adulation comes with it. I know I've been around some professional athletes. When I was stationed at Camp Pendleton, close to San Diego, the San Diego Chargers would do a preseason practice at the football field on the base every year. And like all of us on the base, we could go kind of hang out there, see them in action. And a lot of them were just really great, just really nice guys.
Yeah.
The big name ones would get swamped the most. Honestly, I really enjoyed the ones who weren't big, who might not even make the team. If they do, they're never going to be big stars, but they really appreciate it. Patriots had a guy, Cam Newton, played for him a few seasons ago. Didn't do that great on the field for the Patriots, but I was glad to see him because he's one of those athletes who is so great with the fans. I think some people reach celebrity status. It's got to be difficult. This is not a criticism, because I think it's a lot to understand just the effect that their words, that their presence can have on people who are fans of them. And Cam Newton has understood it better than anybody else I think I've ever seen as a pro athlete. Just big smile on his face for fans, always showed the appreciation. He knew, that his presence, when he gave of himself to them, that how much it would mean to them. I really like seeing that. I have thanked athletes for being cool to other fans before.
Yeah, I will say this, because I work in the college market, and I realize when you're putting on a show, the students really want to meet the celebrity. So I always put a meet and greet as part of our offer into having them come perform. And a lot, very rarely does a celebrity balk at it. They get a little bit controlling, like, okay, it's going to happen right after the show. They got to be in my dressing room at this point, and it's just the students that worked on the show, because they'll be there all the time. I will say it's the opposite with country music artists. They actually build it into their rider that you have to set up something so that they can sign autographs for their fans.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I haven't worked with a lot of country, but every country artist that I've had, they're like, okay, that's great about the dressing room, but how are we going to do the meet and greet? I want security out there, and I don't want anybody to be turned away. Like, everybody gets it. They really treat their fans phenomenally. So that was a surprise, because I'm not really a country music guy.
I like
so I've never really been to country music concerts, but it's part of the culture that there's a meet and greet at minimum, and usually there's selfie stations and to meet the artists, and it works, because I think people come not only to see the concert, but to meet the artist, and it's amazing,
That's good. I like hearing about that.
Yeah.
And it's good to hear good stories about celebrities, because we will often hear stories about celebrities who obviously live in their celebrity bubble, and they're making decisions that just I can't relate to. I think of that when the Imagine video came out. Nobody wanted that.
No,
nobody wanted that. It was one of those things. Just the celebrities seem very out of touch doing that. And as everything is these days, it gets politicized. Nobody on the right wanted it. Nobody on the left wanted it.
No, yeah.
It's just America was brought together and saying, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, it's the only time we all come together is when we collectively hate something. That we can't get together on anything positive, but hate. I will say this before we move on. I met Beyonce before she was Destiny's Child had just broke in the summer. We had her in October. Over the summer, Bills came out. So she performed at UNCW. It was my first job. And she was all four of them were fantastic, but there was something really, really nice about her. She just really is. So I'm hoping that fame didn't change her. I mean, she was famous at that point, but not like she is today. I met Denzel Washington in the streets of New York City. He was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those are my favorite. And Kevin Smith, I met Kevin Smith, but he's kind of barely a semester.
I'm glad you mentioned Beyonce because
Yeah.
her music, everybody knows her music and everything like that. I feel like I think she's probably one of the smartest celebrities out there. I think she gets it more than most, if not any other celebrity out there. Like I love the story where I think it was Connect 4. Kanye West was challenging her to Connect 4, and she like read this Danish PhD thesis on how to always win Connect 4 before playing Kanye West, and just like 12 straight games just blew him out of the water. And I mean, I think, and I do think to make it in a lot of those industries, people will talk shit on celebrities, but
yeah,
you've got to be either really, really driven or really, really smart to make it. And you've got to have a little bit of luck, of course. But and a lot of them get, the whole Kesha, people treat her like she's dumb thing. 1,500 on her SATs. She could have gone to school anywhere. These are not stupid people. These are smart people.
Right.
And all that stuff.
Especially if they last. I find like you can get lucky and have your 15 minutes, but usually, if you're a jerk in the industry, and there's plenty of them, but you're working your ass off and you're either really talented or you're working your ass off, probably both.
Yeah, I think like being extremely talented and hardworking, if you make it, that can keep you there. But if you're an asshole, when you start to fall, when you stumble, people will be more than happy to push you down and enjoy the stumble. Whereas if you're really nice and really cool, if you stumble, people are going to forgive it. Tom Hanks can make mistakes. Henry Winkler can make mistakes. These are people that are just beloved. Bernie Mac, I think, would have been one of those guys. He was so beloved by everybody.
Yeah, and you got to think, you got Bernie Mac, you got D.L. Hughley. They're not going to tour with people that they don't like. So I got to think all the kings of comedy were pretty, are pretty nice, and so we'll, it is what it is.
So kind of a segue into celebrities. They're just like the rest of us. One of the big trends that, it's trending news that's going on. Famed actor James Cromwell right here super glued his arm to a Starbucks, or to a table in a Starbucks, to protest oat milk being more expensive than cow's milk.
Now, did you read the article?
Yes.
Okay, so the headline was a little bit misleading. He wasn't saying that oat milk's too expensive, but you shouldn't have to pay a premium to not consume animal products. And it was in partnership with PETA that he was doing this, right?
And when PETA's involved, I'm never.
You're barely in the right when PETA's involved.
Yeah.
But like I got it. I was like, okay, he's not tilting at windmills. There is more of a point than somebody that, actually successful. He's currently acting in one of the most popular TV shows. Sure. Maybe not a regular. It may not be a starring, but he's a regular, right?
Yeah.
And he's also the actor that portrayed the first individual that went to warp speed in Star Trek. So there's that too. So James Cromwell, near and dear to my heart.
I'm not here to poop on James Cromwell's work or anything like that. And I'm also not one to say that just because something is going on here that, you can't discuss this other thing that's going on there. I feel that's usually used just to, to stifle the discussion.
Right.
But it's really, really hard for me to take seriously somebody who's protesting like that about something that's so, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word to describe. It's like very much not the common man, you know. Lunch Pail Joe and Betty out there who are, working their asses off to pay the bills. They don't care. I don't. Come on. I didn't even know that oat milk was more expensive. And again, I spend time on Twitter, and there's people out there who will justify it. And it's like, why is the vegan lifestyle so much more expensive? And I don't shit on vegans. I think that's a very admirable way to go about living
Well,
your
I mean,
life.
let's look at it at more. Let's go back and look at it macro.
Well, let me just kind of finish the
Yeah,
point.
sorry.
Where people were trying to defend that, and the reality is, a lot of vegan products are going to be more expensive as long as it's more of a niche. And while less people are doing it, it's just you're not going to be able to mass produce a lot of these products the way that you are. More products that are going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's supply and demand, it's economics. But this is my thing. It has always been more expensive to be healthy in America.
Yes.
The cheap things are the things that are bad for you. I mean, that's what it is. I'm on a real ramen noodle kick, and apparently that's the worst thing I could be doing to myself. But I'm buying my 50-cent ramen noodle packs because it's a comfort food for me. A little chicken broth, little noodle.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I was fortunate enough, didn't appreciate it at the time when I was a kid, but small farm. So we always had vegetables, fresh vegetables, right from the farm right there. We raised pigs and turkeys, and we knew what the pigs were getting fed. You keep them for a year, and then once they're butchered in the freezer, in the deep freezer, that's a lot of pork, a lot of meat that'll last a long time. I mean, I lived a very healthy life, and I never get sick now as an adult. So are those two things connected? Hey, causation does not equal correlation. But I do know that those two things are both at least individually true. So I do agree with you there.
And there are studies that you go into the more impoverished part of the community, and their grocery stores do not have access to the fresh, the better. Desert. You're going to find more corn syrup. You're going to see more because it's cheaper to make things that way. And also a lot of times that stuff gets diverted to more affluent neighborhoods and that sort of thing.
Yeah, food deserts. That's a very real thing. And I after not eating well when we were all at home for a long time, I've been trying to eat better, notwithstanding a weekend at a Saturday at Nordic Lodge with friends, eating all you can eat lobster drenched in butter and prime rib. Then Sunday for Mother's Day, I took my dear mother to Ronnie's, which is her favorite fried clams joint. So I was eating a lot of fried seafood on Sunday. Notwithstanding that, I do try to eat pretty healthy, but I have luxuries in doing so. Like I have time to myself.
But are you eating healthy or are you eating not shitty?
So I
eat not shitty.
My lunches that I eat, and I'm a rut guy, so I can eat the same food for a long time. So for weeks, the lunches that I set for lunch at Stop and Shop, they've had the chicken tenders, the tenderloins, not breaded, just the raw chicken tenderloins. Have not been super expensive. So I get a pack of those, and then I'll get those packs of frozen vegetables that you can microwave right in the pack. And for lunch at work, throw one of those packs of vegetables in. I prep my chicken tenders and cut them up and wrap them up in things. So when it's lunchtime, cook the vegetables. While those are cooling, you heat up the chicken, mix them together, maybe throw something like honey mustard in there or salt, something like that, just to give it a little more body. And that's my lunch. And like a day like today, that carried me through dinner.
Yeah, nice.
I ate some grapes for dinner. I eat oatmeal at breakfast. So I'm trying to, eat better, but it takes a little more time to do it. That And I don't say that to say, if you want to do it, you just got to make time. Hey, I realize I have the luxury of time to be able to do that. My lunch at work is 1 hour. I've got plenty of time to sit there microwaving two different things and not having to fight other people for. And I've got a fridge right there. All the blah 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 stuff. I'm good with that. On Sundays, I don't have to work a second job. I'm fortunate in that sense. And the reality for a lot of people out there is just not that reality.
You're right.
Goddamn right, I'm right.
So those are the trends. I don't know if anybody watching has any trends you want to bring up, but those are the trends that we've just been noticing. I'm wondering what the new trends will be. I'm sure there's another one right around the corner.
You know what? I think a great trend would be for people to jump on, Ian.
What's that?
I think an awesome trend across America would be on every other Wednesday night, people tuning in to Ian and Jerrod's Humday Extravaganza.
Right here. Yep, I agree. We're solving the world's problems.
Right. One problem at a time.
Exactly.
The hardest thing to do with this episode for me as we were leading up to it was keeping the politics out, because there was some things going on that I felt very strongly about lately. And, it's something we talked about before we started doing it.
Yeah.
It's not bringing the politics into it. That'd be a different show.
That would be a different show. Closest we're going to get is James Cromwell and PETA.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And when people talk about like celebrities who live in the bubble and they think they're better than us and they just don't get it, that's what they're talking about.
I know.
There. And maybe to creep some of the politics in it, there's a political area that is not as infatuated with Hollywood celebrities that in fact thinks they're hypocritical and out of touch with what real Americans are doing, and things like that prove them right.
Yeah. Well, again, you just have to be good at whatever you're famous for. You don't have to be good at politics, but they have so some people will be, some people are, I would argue, Jon Stewart, comedian first, but excellent person that can, put a good spin on the world. And, but that doesn't mean just because you're a celebrity, you are good at that or have anything of merit to say.
Okay, Amy, the celebrity out there, going out of her way to not be able to appeal to the common man out there in the world. Let me ask you this, Ian.
Yeah.
So you perform.
Yes.
I perform.
Yes.
Have you ever been recognized in public by somebody that is a stranger to you from your performances?
Okay. I know you want me to say no, and it has not happened in my adult life, but I was in a production in high school and I sang a solo, and it was a comedic role. And at the same time I worked at Baskin Robbins, and there was the day after I was in the show, I kept getting recognized because everybody that went to the show must have come to Baskin Robbins that day. And they're like, "You're Wilbur." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm Wilbur." So I peaked at 16. That's it. For improv, no, I have not been recognized. Yeah.
It has happened to me twice just here in Rhode Island. And let me tell you, I was so uncool when it did. I was just like, really? You were there? Oh, wow. Like one guy it was from Pig. I had free passes. I'm like, oh, that's where you saw me here. I have free passes. You should always come back. I was just at Cumberland Farms on my way home from work. It's when I lived in Connecticut. So it was that long drive back. And, there's a Cumbies right in the middle that I'd stop at a lot of times, get a nice cold Coke Zero that have 3 pieces of candy for $1 in there, get a little something like that to tide me over for the rest of the trip. The guy working there is like, "Oh, you do a show tonight?" Like, "What? Do you go to the show?" He's like, "Yeah, I saw you perform." Oh, I was beside myself.
That's pretty cool.
It was cool. And then once in line at a CVS, some guy's like, "You look familiar. Do I know you from somewhere?" And I'm like, I'm not sure. It's like, do you ever watch improv? He's like, yeah, watch it. And then again, watch it at Providence Improv Guild sometimes. Like, oh, that's where you know me from.
That's funny. I will say, I get recognized as a college administrator. It's a little bit like it because you can be known without knowing the student. Like they could have come to a workshop with me or a class with me, and it's, I didn't get to know the students, and they'll be like, oh yeah. So yeah, it's not the same, but it's in the general vicinity.
Yeah.
It comes from, you're not, and that's the other thing. You're not in the place where you're doing the thing you're known for, so you're not expecting someone to be like coming up to you and go, "Are you?" Or,
yeah. I'm certainly not trying to describe my experiences with what Leonardo DiCaprio runs to every time he goes to the store or anything like that. But as somebody pointed out to me not that long ago, I think it was last fall. It's like, you think about when you were younger and you would go to local shows if you were a fan of something. Maybe it's, musicians, people that you don't really know, and you watch them perform. It's like, oh, that is so cool. And sometimes you forget when you're on the other side of that, how you look, when they're able to engage in conversation with you or something like that, like how much it can mean to them, how much cooler of an experience it is for them. And I do try now to keep that in mind. Because, in person, I am not nearly as much of a jerk as I am on this show right now. I don't treat people poorly. You're the same way. I mean, we treat people well when we talk to them.
We find it humorous to pretend to be jerks, right?
Right.
Yeah. Like that.
So bad at it.
Right.
But it also kind of carries me through. And when it's somebody, who's like, just saw you do a show, and like, that is so cool. That is so cool. Funny. Thank da. Just to be really cool about it. And I say that as somebody who's so uncomfortable in those situations. Yeah. And it's not a discomfort in the sense of, I don't want to be dealing with people. I'm just so bad at coming up with engaging conversation.
Well, I'm an introvert and I have social anxiety, so it's like the worst nightmare of having to do that. I will say this. It is kind of a compliment, because I think if you had bombed or wouldn't good, they'd feel embarrassed for you and would not come up to you. I really do believe that. I don't think people would come up to you if they didn't think you did a good job.
Now I'm going to be really self-conscious about everybody who doesn't come up to me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, think about me. Nobody's come up to me. Everybody that's seen me has thought I was bad. At least you have two.
That's right. Just out in the wild. Out in the wild of Rhode Island.
That's funny. Yeah. So yeah, well, we're both performing soon, so we'll do plugs at the end of the show. But so you could be one of the people that can come out and then recognize us afterwards. So
what a great
experience. Or imagine if we get recognized from this show. Like, hey, aren't you Jerrod of Ian and Jerrod's Humday Extravaganza?
I'm waiting for that moment to happen.
Yeah.
Tell all your friends.
Yeah. And it doesn't count if it's Amy.
Amy would find a way to be a real jerk about it too.
She would.
She's very, very clever at find whatever I could predict, she would do it and be like, joking around, hey, I saw you, so great. Or, oh, you were on that? I didn't even recognize you right there. Amy, it's a compliment, because you'll always find a funny way. It's hard to come at me from a direction that I'm not predicting.
You're not ready for it, right?
Amy's one of the people who can find a direction that I wasn't expecting. Hey, yourself.
Hey. All right. So there's one other thing that's kind of a trend that we said we were going to talk about. We both saw.
Oh, that's Doctor right. Strange. Totally forgot.
We saw
Doctor Strange 2: Multiverse of Madness, and we both talked about being big MCU fans.
Yep.
Always try to see the new MCU movies at the movie theaters when they come out.
Yeah, let's not spoil anything. So this can be a conversation about just general impressions. It wasn't my favorite experience with Marvel. It's not bad, but it left me a little bit wanting more.
I felt like that movie tried to do too much.
Yeah.
And because it tried to do too much, it didn't reach a lot of satisfying ends to things that it tried to do a lot with.
I think it hurt that it came out so close to the last Spider-Man that scratched a lot of itches that I think we were feeling
Yeah.
nostalgia-wise. And then I think it got people really hyped to what the multiverse can do, because we saw it work really well in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I think you Spider-Man, you're not going to get to the same level of it, I mean, even the surprises that they did have in it, I don't know, they didn't hit for me because it's a different universe, and I don't think it's named Multiverse of Madness, so there's no, it's almost like a dream sequence, right? Cool, we get to see this stuff, but it's a dream.
Yeah. I think I was thinking about this actually just earlier today. I was talking to somebody. One of the big draws, one of the things that I feel like made the MCU really explode is the Avengers series itself, because that was bringing together the superheroes, most of which that you've had enough previous movies to have some background and history with them. I mean, when the first Avengers movie came out, it was like, whoa!
Yeah.
You got Captain America and Iron Man and Thor, all in there, all doing their thing together. And then a lot of the subsequent movies were like, I can't wait to see this in the next Avengers movie that comes out. I mean, they got better about it once they didn't have to introduce the characters as much. I thought Thor Ragnarok was very good. Yeah. Obviously, Black Panther kind of bucked that trend for me. That was a character introduction that still ended up being really, really terrific. But you could definitely tell that part of the premise, they really wanted Black Panther to be a huge part of the future of what I guess we could call the Avengers series. Because I feel like the late introduced movies of Doctor Strange and Black Panther, where their thought was those will be the two big superheroes that'll carry on the entire MCU, the Avengers theme afterwards, which unfortunately one of the best MCU characters tragically passed away, same age as me. So not to make it about myself, but I do think that's part of it is we're all really bucking to get to the one where they're brought together, but it's still so much of it is character introduction. I think that was the main point of Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, introducing a new character.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And here's the thing. I'm pretty confident that I am not being unfair to the new movies because I like the old movies so much. I have low expectations on these things. I really liked some movies that have come out. I didn't hate Eternals like some people did. I love like there's been and granted, because it isn't even like how excited I knew nothing about Guardians of the Galaxy before Guardians of the Galaxy came out. That was not a comic that I was reading back, and for a long time it was my favorite Marvel movie, so for me it's like it doesn't matter if I don't know the content. I don't know anything about America Chavez. Like, that's a character that was introduced after I stopped reading the comics, so I know she's beloved, but for me, I had no, and I was excited to see a new character like that. And, I love the idea that what they're doing on Disney Plus is now making it into the movies, because I'll tell you this thing. If you have not watched WandaVision, don't go see Doctor Strange. You need to see, you will not be able to really get the gist of what's going on, because Scarlet Witch is a big part of this, and she had such an arc in that the last time you saw her in a movie, she's totally different than where we find Wanda, Scarlet Witch right now. Yeah. So, but I think, and I'm excited for Marvel. You would have to, first of all, Marvel, the worst Marvel movie is better than the best DC movie at this point. Like, it's true.
It's true. I know we talked some about the Batman last episode, but I was very meh.
Yeah, it was.
about
I
that.
liked it. I enjoyed it, but it's just not. Like I just want to be I want to be that 13-year-old kid, right? I saw a Superman
Yeah,
when I was like 8 years old. And, I want to leave the theater thinking I can fly, like even
yeah.
as an adult, I want that excitement of, oh, that was awesome.
And what's crazy, like I think the best movie or one of the best movies DC's come out with was Suicide Squad 2.
Mhm.
And that was James Gunn, the Guardians of the Galaxy director, getting in, doing that and putting some style into it and letting them be funny when they did it. I'm somebody who enjoyed Green Lantern. I mean, I was a big Ryan Reynolds fan, but to allow
That
allow
movie
the
that
humor
movie
to
didn't
come.
need to get as panned as it did. I
Yeah,
agree. It doesn't do a lot of fan service. It left a lot on the floor and that sort of thing, but it's not a bad movie.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think all of those movies they keep making them with something at the some part of it to make you think, okay, there's going to be a sequel to it.
Mhm.
And I think that's actually a weakness in the way that they
Yeah.
do them, and they just
Well, that's why I like the Marvel TV shows. No one, I don't know if they're going to do a Moon Knight 2. They said they weren't, but they left it a little bit of a
yeah.
cliffhanger at the end there. You
Well,
know.
I feel like because of what Marvel's done, where they've got this universe, and there's more that's going to be going on, and if something gets dropped, that's okay because there's going to be something else
Well, yeah,
that
because they're treating them all the same, the show could get picked up in a movie down the road, right? All of a sudden,
yeah.
it doesn't have to be a TV show. It isn't like, okay, they didn't do another season, so that's the end of the storytelling of that character. It just means, all right, they may be in a movie next.
Well, I think part of the strength, and I didn't love the Moon Knight series. The last episode was excellent.
Yeah.
Really, I probably the second to last episode really is the one I should say that was a very good episode. That one was
Yeah, and it set up the 6 to make 6 a really fun episode.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that was a very good episode. I
Yeah.
feel like so much of what Marvel's doing now is the introduction of
Oh,
new
absolutely.
characters, and a show like Moon Knight now lets you because Eternals was to me okay. I wanted to like it more than I did, and I think the reason I didn't is because there was all of these characters, but they were all new, so I was still learning about them.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
learning 8 characters
yeah.
is a
So
lot.
I
And
didn't
but
have the
you know
history
why
with
they're doing it. Phase 4 is going to be a galactic theme. It's going to be the secret invasion. It's going to be
yeah,
the Kree and the Skull, and all of these people will have, I mean, Harry Styles character, Star Fox, it's going
yeah.
to be a big one. There's an end scene in Doctor Strange where that's going to tie it's
Right,
they're
right.
doing the exact same thing they were doing to build up for the Avengers, and then to build up for the Infinity War, right?
Right,
Phase 1 was all about getting to the Avengers. Phase 2
yeah,
was yeah.
and I think that's kind of where it's like I'm eating my vegetables now.
Yeah.
They're good. I'm enjoying them. I'm
No,
going to
you're
see the
right.
next one
Right.
that comes out in the theater with high expectations because Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy are in it. I mean, yeah. So of course I'm really looking forward to seeing that, and I'm going to go do it. But maybe it's because now I'm aware of the formula that I just
Sure.
can't wait because when they do the movie, when they're all together, I'll now have known the characters from the previous
Right. And
movies,
then you'll be like,
or
oh, that
introduced
person
to
reacted
the
that way. That's how I would hope they would
yep,
react, right?
or introduced in a Disney Plus show.
Yep.
And what's kind of wild is there seem to be introducing so many more characters in Phase 4 than they did in Phase 1. It feels like Phase 4 is kind of Phase 1 and 2. They're getting all the individual ones in Phase 1 and 2 combined in Phase 4. And, we're kind of hanging on for the big payout.
Well, I think they need to make it bigger than Avengers Endgame, where you have that scene at the end where all the heroes come back, and so with Secret Invasion, they want to get a ton of these characters out. I mean,
Yeah.
you got Miss Marvel coming out with Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
You have She-Hulk coming out. There's so many things that Moon Knight was just introduced. I think
Yeah.
it just opens the world to to really having a big payoff movie. And if you look, you can see the movies that are coming out, and you can see how much comes before Secret Invasion, and that is the equivalent of Infinity War. I mean
Yeah,
it's a big stakes, Earth's in jeopardy.
I don't think they're going to be able to get there either. I'm looking forward to it, but I think by the time Infinity War came out, we knew multiple movies with a lot of the key characters in it. And the Infinity Wars, and I've never looked forward to a movie more than I look forward to Endgame. And still, that scene at the end, I feel like we can spoil Endgame now. That scene at the end where like Steve Rogers, Captain America, they're alone
On
with
your
the broken
left.
shield. On your left, yep. And when and it was cheesy. They all did the big poses as they went through and everything.
Do not care.
Knew I was being manipulated while it was happening, and it worked because they had earned it. They'd put so much into earning it to get to that point that the movie theater I was in just went dead silent, with the exception of a few sobs that you could hear. Not me, steely-eyed, but other people in that movie theater. You could hear it. It was they earned such a big emotional I don't want to say event, but
payoff.
That's the word. Yeah, that huge emotional payoff for people. They put a lot of effort into getting it, and I hope they learn the right lessons on how they got there, because I feel like it would be really easy to do it wrong, to try to make it, and then it would seem insincere when they actually do it. That's what I'm a little worried about, that if they try to go too big with Secret Invasion.
I'm with you. I'm really interested in what Thor does.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see Jane Foster as Thor. I'm excited. They did an extended preview before Doctor Strange, and it was they're going in a direction that I think is fantastic with it. I didn't know the Guardians were it looks like they're a pretty big piece of the movie, so that was exciting to see. Yeah, I don't know, but they until I can deal with mediocre movies. They're still better than a lot of other movies out there, and I always enjoy myself. I enjoyed going to Doctor Strange this week. I was sick. It was one of the only Marvel movies I didn't go within the first day and a half of it being released, and I think maybe that had a little something to do with it. Like, the theater I went to was empty. I went. Actually, it was 6:45 on Monday night. Warwick just redid all their theaters, and there's an X Plus theater that's supposed to be better sound and better. Don't waste. It's not worth the extra money.
That might have been the one that I went to.
Oh,
not the one by the Warwick Mall, right?
No. The Showcase.
Oh, okay. Now we went to, maybe it was East Greenwich that we were in there.
That's the one. The one that's across from Dave's Marketplace.
Yeah.
That's
where I saw it, in like front rows.
Yeah.
Because that's all that was left.
That was all that was left. Yeah. So I went on Monday, 6:45 show, and there was maybe 20 people in the theater.
Yeah.
And and you do miss those. I was watching a YouTube video of someone talking about it, and they were like, this got a big scream in the theater when this happened, and I wasn't with that kind of crowd. I know where they would have applauded, but maybe that raises it up a little. I don't know.
I refuse to applaud in the movie theater. Will not do it.
Sometimes it's involuntary for me.
So. What am I doing? Whoops.
No, didn't mean to do that. All right. So what you got coming up? Let's do plugs.
So this Friday, I am performing at Bring Your Own Improv, 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Warwick Center for the Arts. So come on down.
Come on down.
Bring your mask. Bring proof of vaccination for that one. And then Saturday, 7 p.m. at Providence Improv Guild at AS 220. Our House Harold team, Dr. Nighttime, is going to be performing. You can come on down, bring proof of vaccination. That's a good one. Check the website first. It's a little cheaper if you buy the ticket online. Plus, you make sure that you'll get a seat, because it's not a huge theater that we are performing in.
Yeah. And if you want to see me, you got to go to State College, Pennsylvania on Friday, because I am performing at the Blue Brick Theater's XL Improv Festival, first ever improv festival by my friends down in State College, Pennsylvania. So
Nice.
I am road tripping down there, and they're putting together a team on the spot. So we'll rehearse at 4:30 and perform, I think, at 7, and one time only. So that's where I'll be. So I miss my regular house show. This would have been my week. Friday, a week from Friday would have been my normal house team. I got to perform with them last week, Netflix and Chull, and it's fun. Movie format, my favorite format.
Oh, yeah?
Having a lot of fun with it. So,
Nice.
so go see them. Go see them on Friday. I won't be there, but that's my team. And Amy's in BYOI Friday with Jerrod.
Me!
And then Kismet on Saturday on the house team there. Awesome.
So you see, Amy and I performing together on Friday.
Nice. Yeah.
We don't have a name. I would say AJ, but we don't have a nickname for when we perform together at all.
No. You and I need to perform again. That was fun.
We had a good set. We had
a really good set
together. I think the way that we perform, that would be good. I know they don't do the class field trips, but if I was teaching a level 2 class, I would have them come to see one of our sets, because our style of performance together is very game heavy.
Yeah.
And it's a great lesson. It actually has helped. I'm so glad we did it, because I was kind of drifting off, and that helped me
it felt like a rehearsal. It felt like, we're trying, and it was neat, because I didn't think we were going to get that much out of one premise. And we did a full show.
Mono scene. 15-minute mono scene. Yeah.
So, we're good, huh? Pat ourselves on the back.
We're so good. Yeah.
We are so good.
All right. Well, let's let everybody free to do all the stuff that they've been putting off.
Yeah. And I will say this. I'll say this on the air. Take care of yourself. COVID's still out there. I had it. I was down for the count. It was not fun. So, when folks, if you're with people, throw that mask on. It may not be time to abandon those masks, right? It's going around. I know more and more people now that are sick with it. Granted, not as severe, right? But still, it's still there. So don't let your guard down.
I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm going to throw a special thank you out to my little niece, Annika. Thank you for watching, Annika.
Uncle Gandalf says thank you. And as always, Amy.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Same time, same channel.
Woohoo!
Woo!